In this video, I am going to talk about using electricity to enhance pigeons' performance and explain some of my theories on why some champions live under or near high tension wires, and also my experience with an electric fence wrapped around my pigeon loft. If you like my videos, please subscribe and put some comments down below and let me know what you think about my theories on electricity. Now, back in the late 80s, I had a terrible problem with cats. Cats, raccoons, everything in the city, they were all over my pigeon lofts. They were on the flight pens, trying to get in the traps. So my father bought an electric fence charger. It was an electric fence that could charge 25 miles of wire. He set up a system which was quite unique, and I recommend everybody see an electrician before you do any of this. He put like wire screening on plexiglass. He wired it all together on top of each flight pen and in front of the landing board. He spaced this wire about 6 inches apart so the pigeons could walk on it but never make contact with two sections of this, screening. But raccoons, cats, anything like that that stepped on it would get shocked. So he set it all up around the pigeon loft, and I loved it because I never had to worry about closing off the trap or anything like that. Now, the interesting part, I had this going for maybe 3 years in the late 80s. I was racing against big competition. My loft was only 12 foot by 16 foot, and this thing just, you could hear it click, click, click. I guess it was a pulsating charge. Well, I won everything. The birds were just dominating. I didn't have any losses. They flew like crazy with that loft, so electrified. Most of us would think that wrapping a pigeon loft in an electric fence would be detrimental to results, maybe interfere with the pigeon's homing instinct, but I found just the opposite. The birds flew like crazy. I mean, I was amazed. They homed, they won. Again, I had good pigeons and good systems, but I was racing against big competition, a lot of top fanciers. And those years that I had that electric fence wrapping my pigeon loft, the results were exceptional. I started going to Belgium in the late 80s. And when I saw Sylvain Toya's new property, he bought under a somewhat near high tension wires. And I asked him, I said, did you buy this property because of those big high tension wires? And he looked and he smiled at me. And I asked him a couple more times over the years, did you buy because of those high tension wires? And again, he looked and he would give me his little wink and smile. Now, whether he did or he didn't, I'm not sure. But for a pigeon fancier that's looking for a new location to race pigeons, the last place I would want to buy is under high tension wires. I have witnessed some superstar fanciers that race right under or close to big high tension wires. One fancier, a local fancier, he was very good, always excellent. But then the electric company built high tension wires right behind his pigeon lofts, and he's been one of the best fanciers in the combine. When I was growing up, another fancier had wires going right over his loft, and he was really always tough to beat. So maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's something to this electricity pulsating around the pigeons. I hope I caused them thought, but again, if you are thinking about electrifying your pigeon loft or wrapping an electric fence around it, please see an electrical engineer, good electrician, do it right. But I think it's positive. Not only will it keep the animals away, I think it has a positive effect on the pigeons. My thought process was maybe I set up some type of an electrified Faraday cage. I mean, for those of you who are not familiar with a Faraday cage, I'll put a link in the description. A Faraday cage is, it blocks electromagnetic pulses and fields. It's set up around usually equipment to keep electricity from interfering with the equipment. Some of the old Belgians used to wrap their lofts with copper wire and then, drive a 6-foot spike into the ground and ground the building, and they found it to have a positive effect. If possible, your birds aren't coming home, you can't get them to come home, you may want to set the loft up into like a Faraday cage. I'll put the links to a Faraday cage, and again, see an electrical engineer and what would be best. But again, something to think about. I like to evoke thought. And again, this is Frank McLaughlin, McLaughlin Lofts, and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.